Hi, welcome back. I'm so glad you could join me here today. Today we're going to be doing a nice little simple painting. All of you can follow along. Let me have them run the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with me while you're doing that. Let me tell you what I got on my canvas. On my regular 16 by 20 inch canvas, pre-stretched double prime. These canvas I have pre-coated with black gesso, but you don't have to do that. And I put a thin layer of the liquid white. Rather than that, it's slick, it's wet, and it's ready to go. I thought today we could do a nice little sunset scenery. So I'm going to get started with a little bit of cadmium yellow and titanium white on my 1 inch. Just mixing it on my brush, no palette knife. I don't like that just yet. How about here? Yeah, that's better. But I think this brush, it's gonna take me a while. Let's go ahead, let's use a 2 inch brush. That will speed up the process. Just cadmium yellow and some titanium white. You don't have to add white if you don't want to. In your painting, you do whatever you like. Just doing crisscross. There. Just like so. Or if you don't want to contaminate your colors, what you can also do is put some yellow on the canvas and go with some white. It'll have the same effect as if you were to have done it by mixing it on the palette. Now, a little bit of alizarin crimson and cadmium yellow. Just mixing it all in the brush until you're satisfied with the color you get. It's all about patience, testing what colors you like and what don't you. There. A little bit more red this time. You test out colors you like or you think would look best on your painting and you go along with it. I like it when you guys take your own spin on the paintings. Gives it a new feel. And last but not least, I'm going to go into a little bit of Prussian blue, a little bit of crimson, just giving a nice lavender color. Let me grab my palette knife. Okay, now again, it's very important you mix up colors you like and not just because I'm mixing it on the canvas or I'm putting it on. If you don't like that color, don't put it. It's as simple as that. So I have this nice lavender color on my brush. Just tap it in, full of color. Let's come up here, just the borders. Now the reason why I put red most of the time is so it won't how you call it, turn green, because if I put pure blue and I have lots of yellows, it'll turn green on me. And we don't want that, do we? No, we don't. So I'm gonna go back and just add more color into the center because I think it's too pale. And the more color you have, the less you'll see through the canvas. It looks kind of transparent right now, so just working my way so it doesn't look too transparent. Okay, a little bit of white. Now, I'm gonna go into a little bit of red just to kind of shift the color and add in more color to the rest. Um, all I'm trying to do is just make it less transparent because the first coating of paint for me, it's kind of transparent and I don't want that. Maybe the camera doesn't pick it up, but I could see it, and once I hang it up, it's not gonna look good. There. Now, I'm going to add more red to really emphasize that red um, before lavender. I think that kind of got lost in the brush, which is no biggie. I just don't want it to get completely lost because we can see some spots it looks a little green and that red will kind of contrast it. And just like that, you have a simple sky. Now, I'm gonna grab a 2-inch brush, clean dried 2-inch brush, and just softly blend everything together just by doing crisscross strokes. You don't want to take it back once you go into darker colors, especially when you hit that blue area. Now, just going to clean off my brush. I have a nice rag off to the side. Just remove any brush marks. Clean it off. Shoot, the fun part, just beating it. I like to do this. You guys don't have to. but I think it's kind of a fun part. There. Just like that, I have my sky. Now, we rarely use this foliage brush, so let's go ahead, let's use that. Just going into lavender and a little bit of mountain mixture. Now, for lavender, it's just Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, and white. And I just mix that up. It's a little bit of mountain mixture. I don't want to rely heavily on mountain mixture. I want it more to be so on the lavender color, because since this is going to be like a fall painting, lavender, when you have orange, it stands out more on the lavender than if I put pure black. So, tap some paint. Let's come up here and just tap. It'll do all the work for you. I don't really like using this one, but sometimes it'll save you time. So I think it just depends on the situation, really. There. Just load up with paint in there. Okay. You can touch up some spots if you feel like you don't like it too much. Just touch it up again and you should be fine. Okay, we're gonna use a 1-inch brush. Many people rely too heavily on those round side brush. It's nice to have, but I think you shouldn't rely too much. It's good to have it though, I'll tell you that. So I'm just gonna mix up an orange, a little bit of cadmium yellow and alizarin crimson. You could have also done it with cadmium yellow and bright red. The different reds will give you different hues. It's not going to be exactly the same if you change the hues. How I say, do it to your liking. Load up my 1-inch brush. One direction, pulling the paint one direction. As you can see, fully loaded. Now, let's come up here. Think of each individual bush. Don't just put it at random. I'm going to a little touch of the liquid white. I want to thin it out just a bit. There. Pulling it one direction and just shouldn't take too much pressure, really. There. Just here and there. I'm going to be changing the colors, but I like to block in certain colors first. So since it's going to be fall, I'm going to block in the orange first. Okay. So again, just a couple. Now, let me go more to a yellow. Just changing the variation. There. It's not pure yellow, it's a little bit with orange, just a little bit, but more to the yellow side. I don't really want to have too much green in this, because when I think of fall, I think of red orange, a little bit of yellows. So I want to keep less green and um, more oranges and more yellows and reds. There. So let me load up a bit more color and shoom. There we are. Think of each individual shape of each bush. Don't just blop in the paint at random. Let's come up here and maybe over here. Keep changing the variation, adding a little bit orange, more yellow. And that's what I recommend people to do. It'll give you nice variations. Okay? Now, looks like I have it complete, but I'm gonna go into alizarin crimson, a little bit of orange. I want it more to the crimson side though. And we can go back and just touch it up again. Where should I? Maybe right there. I'm not gonna put in too much red right now because I want more of those colors later on. So just scratching in a few little sticks and twigs. Now if you want the sticks and twigs to look white, do not add black gesso, because when you add black gesso, it's going to show up black when you scratch off that liquid white and paint. I don't mind it looking black, but if you guys want that to pop a bit more, I suggest don't add black gesso. You also save yourself on the gesso. There. So let me mix up another batch of the lavender, Prussian blue, alizarin crimson. Try and mix up a healthy batch of this color. When I mean healthy, is a good amount of paint, not trying to hide away. So I'm just mixing in Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, and mountain mixture. Okay, so I'm gonna take my 2-inch brush through that lavender color I created. Nice, dark, rich lavender. Let's come up here and just decide the way of our land. I just like to kind of tap on that edge, and then I'll just pull that paint and just really change it up. I only care about that edge. There we are. Okay. So now I'm gonna take my brush through that orange color we had before going on, and just simply tap. Now it's turning a weird color, so my solution is mix up more paint, because it could be a result of me not having enough paint on the brush. Okay, so now just load up my brush. Has much more paint. Makes a little bit of a difference. Okay, just tapping. I'm actually gonna pull that paint color instead. I was going to tap, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. There. Now, a little bit of yellow to that color, just to make a couple little highlights. Now again, if you don't like the colors you get, and it's because of the color mixtures you're adding, I'd suggest just wait until it dries and then go back on top and just add the colors you want. But if you're gonna do that, I recommend don't put too much texture while painting, because then when you go to touch up, all that texture is gonna be there. So let me go ahead and just create a whole new plane of land. Okay. Now just tap that. I can care less really how the inside looks. I just need that color to be in there. Shoot, if you want to put that color on with the roller, go for it. You want to do hand painting or whatever it's called, finger painting, go for it. All I'm doing is just blocking in color really. Okay. So before continuing with that, what I'm going to do is go into a little bit of Prussian blue, add that to cadmium yellow to turn a green color. And with that green color, I'm going to create a brown with alizarin crimson. Okay, so now I'm just going to mix up a little bit of that lavender color we made previously, a little bit of mountain mixture, and just get a dark roll of paint on the edge of your knife. And simply, all I'm going to do is just decide where I want a cabin. So maybe my cabin lives right around here. It's big decision time. You gotta decide what you want to cover up. I don't mind covering that up. There. Just load it up with paint. Okay? And then make the shape of the house. So just mixing up more of that paint. Just kind of really, shoo. You just decide the shape and the way you want your cabin to look. So I'm just gonna pull that down. We can work out the shape in a sec. I have a lot of paint on that cabin area. Okay. So next what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go to this like brown orange color. I made it a bit orange because everything's looking orange, so might as well. And all I'm going to do is just make a couple logs there. Just a couple logs here and there. Okay, maybe out here there lives a few logs. I might change that color. I'm not too um, obsessed with it. I feel like with the color you have to be obsessed with it, because if you're obsessed with it, that means you really like it and you did a good job. Painting should be something you enjoy. So if there's something wrong, change it. So let me step back just to look at it. Yeah, no, that color's not gonna work. So we have to change it. We have to change it. So once again, mixing up those colors that make a brown, phthalo, Prussian blue, cadmium yellow gives me a green, and then going straight in it with alizarin crimson to even out that color and make it a brown. Alright, so now that I made a brown that I'm satisfied with, what I'm going to do is just simply scratch this paint off. Okay, and then I'm going to add in a little bit of dark color in there. That way it appears dark when I apply it on. Just fixing up anything that maybe I did wrong, or I like to say deleted, because you're scratching off that paint. I use the foliage because it's a similar color, just to pull that color. And then a little bit of white to some of your brown. And just simply come up here. See, that's a brown. There. You decide if you want to do paint breaks, if you want to do logs up and down. It's really and only up to you. There. Now we're gonna cut that off, so I'm not really too worried about that. All I do is just grab it and just shoom. Okay, and a little bit of dark color. You know what? We're gonna load it like reverse and just okay. It's a weird little way to hold your palette knife, but I do that when I want to add more darks in the opposite direction, and then just fix this up. Now sometimes it's better to kind of pull that color because it allows for the paint to apply smoother. So just adding in some more of that brown, but making it darker because not too much light would hit here. Shoo. Just let the paint break. Or you could tap and make little shingles. Okay, a little bit lighter just to kind of help that color pop out a little bit more. There. Now, some of our dark color once again. Okay, and I'm gonna blend that color, just pull it down like if it was a mountain. You don't have to pull down the paint, it's optional. And just right there. I added a little bit of green, so I'm gonna balance it out a bit more with the red. I don't want it too much green. It shows up too much. I just wanted it a bit darker with a little bit of green. There. You're the creator of this world. You're in charge. Okay. So now, what I do is just scratch off that paint. Okay. And let me clear out my palette a bit by just piling up the paint. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to block in some of that orange color. So just going with my 1 inch, all I'm doing is just blocking in. Now, if it looks like this, it's alright because the reason why I'm not trying so much is because I'm going to add in a second layer, and that second layer is going to pop on top of this layer. I just want kind of our base tones, you can say. There. So now, let me mix up a new orange since the one I have is polluted. So all I'm going to do is just wipe off my brush on a rag just so I don't have that polluted color in there as much, and just beat it a bit. It does damage the bristles a bit, but if you know how to restore the bristles and all that, you should be fine. This is how my brush ended up. Now, just load up my orange color on, and maybe just decide where that orange would go. Okay, load up. I'm gonna blend the color over here because it would be less light due to the way the lighting is. But all I'm doing is basically just applying even more paint than what there already is. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into a little bit more alizarin crimson, just mixing this on the brush and just really tackle that. Okay, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red. And I'm going to make it seem like there's a nice glow on some of them. So, a little bit of yellow and slightest touch of that orange color, just very slight. Okay, and all I'm going to do is just kind of work some of that in. There we are. Now, we're going to work some other elements in the painting. And if anything, if I'm still not satisfied with this, I'll come back to this. But we got to keep the bus moving. So, I'm going to go in our dark color, load my fan brush full of that color. It's like a dark lavender color. And all I'm going to do, you know me, I like evergreen trees. Just shoom. Now, before I continue with this, I gotta add in a little door. There we are. And maybe there lives another one right around here. And just simply tap those evergreens out of your brush. There we are. Now, this area is a lot of dark, so right around here you won't really see much, rather than what you see in person. In camera, you won't, I assume you wouldn't see much, because sometimes the camera doesn't capture it all. Just loading up my fan brush real good. Okay, and all I'm going to do is clean my brush by wiping it off. We're gonna switch, or for now we're gonna use our fan brush, going into cadmium yellow. I don't mind a little bit of green. I just don't want to overuse it, because fall, you see a little bit of green, but nothing crazy of like all full of greens. If you get what I'm trying to say with that. Sometimes I'm confusing. Just load up my brush. It has a little bit of liquid white so the paint could stick on easier. Not trying to add too much. There. I think that adds a good variation in color. Now, I'm gonna switch to my flat brush, just adding in yellow and alizarin crimson, and a little bit of liquid white, and just this color is more mountain mixture, that's what I'm realizing. So I gotta mix up a new orange. So I'm gonna try some. There, I got my nice orange. I made it more to the red side. Let's try something out. So for the most part, we've been using brushes, but let's use my palette knife. Blocking in color. Just think about it like blocking in color. We'll make it come together right now in a sec. Who knows? Maybe we might leave it like this. The tree kind of looks nice this way as well. Gives it another feel to it. Okay? So now I'm going to go with my flat brush. If I can find it. The funny part is I just had it. Here it is. Take it through a little bit of that orange, just so I have that orange really in, and just tap it with brush strokes. Now that is going to blend that color, but you gotta trust the process and go over it once again. Sometimes things just don't work out the first time. But already you could see it standing out compared to the first time we were trying. So I'm adding a little bit of white to my color and just simply few little spots. Wherever I think it belongs, that's where it goes. That's not necessarily true with your painting. Just because I say it goes somewhere doesn't mean it goes on your painting that way. And I don't mean to make it sound rude, but people paint differently. I may have a different idea than you, or same idea, just different way to present it. And I think that's the cool part of painting, people doing it differently. A little bit of that orange, and just kind of tap it in. I think with all that texture, it makes it look nice too. Now, I'm adding a tree trunk, a little bit of brown on my palette knife. Okay, and all I'm going to do is go into some of that dark color we made, that lavender, tap it into our 2-inch brush. And I want to kind of um, lure the viewer's eyes. So, just creating a bushy little tree off here to the side. A little bit more mountain mixture. We haven't really done one of these bushy trees in a while. Okay, now what I'm going to do is grab our orange with our palette knife and just block it in with our palette knife. Just we'll focus on the rest in a sec with the brush. We're gonna treat it almost, well, basically the same way we treated our evergreen tree. So just like so. There. Just adding that in. Sorry about all that sound going off right now. There. Just kind of adding that in. Okay. And then mix up more orange. A little bit of white. And let's go ahead, few little highlights out here in the front. There. Okay. And just gently blend that out. And all I'm going to do is load up some of that color on my brush and just kind of try to bring everything together. There we are. Let's add in a few little tree trunks. You know what? We'll use our for that brush. Just shoot. Okay. And finally, let's just end it off with the bushes. Just right here. Okay. Little bit of yellow to make things stand out. Okay. Maybe some crimson. Mixture of both. It doesn't really matter. Maybe a little bit of brown. And just create a pathway. A little bit of white with that brown. Turn gray because my brush is dirty. Let's come up here and just pop up a nice little bush. A little more red. Maybe. Ooh, nice little firecracker. Maybe over here, just here and there, and you can tap on a few little grassy areas. Okay, couple sticks and twigs, just scratch marks really. And with that, we can call this painting completed. I really hope you enjoy this painting. Try this painting out. It's a nice little, not too simple, but not too complicated. From the bottom of my heart, I thank each and every one of you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, my friends. Goodbye.